I think that it's of great value because it is unique. Virginia Satir was a world famous expert in human relations, and she founded the Virginia Satir Network, which became worldwide. And we now have certified coaches and trainers in 18 countries. And I think we offer something very unique in that it is what we call coaching and mentoring from the heart. We deeply value each person, and what we see as our goal is to help them feel their own life energy, like they would light their own candle, so to speak, and then to help other people light their candles. And I think that it is such an important piece of why it is such an important value is because it's about valuing each person so that they feel truly their worth. And out of that, they can be more creative and more productive.
那我认为这个项目呢，它确实有着其独特而重要的意义跟价值。那么，弗吉尼亚·萨提亚女士，她作为世界知名的人际关系的专家，她创建了这样的一个全球性的组织网络。那目前，我们在全球18个国家进行萨提亚模式的教练的培训跟认证工作。我们在做的是在培养一种重新出发的教练模式。那这个模式的特点是我们重视每个人独特的价值。我们的目标是能够去激发每一个人他的独特的生命的能量，就好像他能够去点亮自己的蜡烛。那当他能够点亮自己的生命的烛光，他就能够影响和帮助周围更多的人也去点亮自己的烛光。所以呢，通过重视每一个人的价值，让每个人意识到自己的这种独特性，那么他就可以去发挥出来他独有的那份创造力，那份创造性。
I believe that we take this program to the place of the life energy, and that through that life energy or spirit or heart, whatever you want to call it, we help people become more aware of their own struggles and use their own resources, their own wisdom to help them come to some new awareness, some new acceptance, and make some changes. We do not impose our ideas. Sometimes it's like thinking about being a gardener, that a gardener is somebody who understands that the seeds are unique by themselves, and they have the potential and the power to bloom and grow, and that the gardener's job is to create the right environment for that growth. And that's what we do as Satir coaches and mentors. We are like gardeners. We know that that person has all of their own resources, and that it's our job to help them access those resources so that they can make the choices for their lives that will fit for them.
那其实我们萨提亚模式的教练呢，他其实就是相信我们可以去到我们生命力所在之地，也就是透过我们的心，或者我们把它称之为我们的生命能量，然后我们可以 对于我们自己现在生命中经历的一些挣扎困难，有更多的觉察，从而可以运用我们自身的力量、自身的智慧来去面对跟解决。所以我们是促进觉察，促进他的接纳，去产生这样的一个改变，而不是我们作为一个指导那样去告诉他怎么去做。从这个意义上来讲呢，我们所做的工作就很像一个园丁。园丁呢，它是深信每一颗种子都有其独特性的，那也相信每颗种子也都有去生长、发芽、开花的这样的一个潜能。而作为园丁，我们要做的就是去相信，并且去提供这种生长的环境。所以萨提亚模式的教练，萨提亚模式的这个助领者，我们真的就是像在园丁一样来去看待每一个人，相信每个人都有他自己与生俱来的全部的资源。我们要做的只是帮助他去连接到这些资源，去找到什么对他自己来讲是合适的。OK。
Okay. So my thinking is that I'm training someone just like you would train a musician. That you want that person to be able to create beautiful harmony, but a good musician also knows all the scales in music. And they learn the discipline of the scales in order to eventually create beautiful music. So my concept is that I wanted to create a major scale that people could learn for how to do coaching as I saw Virginia work with people. And so that's why I created 6 phases to create a scale or a structure, a fundamental structure from which the coach can facilitate the gardening that I spoke of. That is the environment when you have those 6 phases to help facilitate their growth.
好啊，那我给你分享一下我背后的这个思考。其实我觉得我在培养人的时候，我其实就有点像在培养这个音乐家。那音乐家他们想要演奏出来美妙的交响乐，那他其实也需要先去学习了解一些基本的音乐的知识一些基本的技巧、技能、原则，这样呢，他才可以在这些训练的基础上去创造出来美妙动人的音乐。所以呢，也正是基于这样的一个想法，我也在想，我把萨提亚的这样的一个工作的一些理念原则呢，我把它变成了一些技巧，然后我把它分成了我称之为6个阶段。那这个6个阶段的这样，它其实是一个我们工作的一个基本的一个结构。就像刚才我说，这个我们做的是一个园丁的工作，那园丁怎么去提供一个成长的环境呢？可能就用到我们这些基本的这样的一些框架技巧，我们就提供这样的一个成长的环境。谢谢王子。
What I see as one of the major differences is that counselors can work with what we would call clinical diagnoses and clinical treatment of mental disorders. Coaches don't focus on that. Coaches focus on helping people make changes. You may take them into the past, but you don't stay there. You can just develop some understanding of how the past has impacted their current life, but you don't spend a great deal of time. For example, with somebody who has a major history in abuse, that in my mind would be an appropriate treatment for a counselor, not for a coach. So I don't know if that explains how I see the difference or not. Major depression, major anxiety disorders would be appropriate for a counselor, not for a coach.
那我来说，他们就是咨询和教练的一个，我认为的最重要的区别呢，是咨询呢，它是要去做出临床的一些 诊断的啊。那我在这儿作为翻译加一下，因为其实他们就是会去到治疗的方向，在国内还有那在治疗方那个要有临床的诊断，针对这种精神疾病的一些症状啊。但是在我们教练的工作来看，教练是更多是助人去改变那我们不会太多的停留去探索他的过去，而是即便我们要去看过去，也是看过去对现在的这个影响。举个例子来讲，比方说他的这种如果有被虐待的一些重要的这种创伤史，那在这种教练的工作里面，我们是不去做的，我们是一定要去转介给这个咨询的哈。那还有一些重要的一些，比方说像抑郁啊、焦虑啊，这些也都不是在这个教练的工作范畴里边，而是属于咨询的范畴。我不知道我这么讲有没有就是回答到你的一个刚才关于他们的区别的这个问题。
Thank you, Lisa, because that's so true. Some people look at the 6 steps and go, oh, that's easy. It's easy to read them. It's not necessarily easy to know how to do them. So it's a very in-depth training program for that reason. So the first level is how to apply them to your own personal growth. Virginia believed very, very deeply in what she called the use of self. And that is that the most important thing any good coach does is work on their own emotional health. And when they're in balance, they give off a particular kind of healthy energy that the other person can pick up. And so we spend all the first level, which is 12 lessons, on personal growth. And then the second part of the training is level 2, is all about major satir concepts of human principles of interaction. And then the third part is the largest part, it's 20 lessons, and that's all skill development for somebody who's going to be a satir coach and mentor, and that includes supervision after the 20 lessons. So it's an in-depth program.
谢谢图图提出来这样的一个问题。确实如你所说哈，这个6步法看上去简单，但是它却知易行难。那我们在这个培训的过程里面，实际上它是一个非常有深度的这样的一个培训。所以基于此呢，我们在我们的这个 Level 1就初阶的这个课程里面，我们都是聚焦在这个教练他本人的个人成长上面，因为萨提亚女士他深信就是运用自己的这个重要性，所以一个教练我们首先要去放在自身的成长，我们自身能有这个情绪上的这样的一个健康平衡，那我们才会有这样的一个能量去支持和影响他人。所以在这个部分呢，我们在前期就设置了12节课来专门去预备一个人。那在 Level 2的时候呢，我们就会进入到这个关于人际互动的这样的一些概念。从那儿呢，我们要去学习一些技能技巧，然后那有20节课，然后在那个基础之上呢，我们才会去到这样的一个实操啊、督导啊，所以它是一个循序渐进、不断深化的这样的一个训练的结构。
Well, that's a very interesting question. I didn't know that about Chinese culture.
这个问题好有趣啊！因为我并不懂你们的这个中国的文化。
I had learned a particular scale or set of phases in another model before I studied with Virginia. It had 1, 2, 3, 4 phases, I think. And so when Virginia died, I wanted to be able to share with people so much what I had learned from her. And I felt as though people would say, Virginia Satir is her own magic, and no one else can do what she does. And I had studied her long enough to know that she was a very healing person, but it wasn't magic. She knew what she was doing. And so I spent hundreds of hours watching tapes and identifying what the phases were. And I didn't know about 6, Jeff, but somehow I came up with 6. So I'm glad that it means something, you know, in the Chinese culture. For me, it has been so rewarding to have a structure in my mind and know that I'm not always following that structure, in the sense that when I'm with somebody, I want to stay right with where they are. But in my mind, I also have that structure behind my way of working.
OK， 好的。那其实哈，虽然老师说他并不了解中国文化里边6这个数字的象征，可能是一个巧合。那就说到一些历史，那其实在Sharon老师遇到萨提亚女士之前呢，其实她也有学过别的一些流派呀，别的一些内容。就那时候好像接触到有一些工作的步骤哈，那时候好像是有4步或者5步。然后但是在萨提亚女士去世之后呢，然后Sharon老师就有一个特别强烈的意愿和想法，想要向世界去分享他跟萨提亚学到的这些宝贵的东西。那很多人会认为萨提亚呢，他是一个具有魔力的一个治疗师，觉得萨提亚它是独特的，没有人能够去掌握它那个就是非常个人化、个性化的东西。所以萨提亚去世以后，好像就没有人再能够去如此呈现他的那些治疗的魔法了。但是在Sharon老师看来，萨提亚女士呢，她是一个很有疗愈性、疗愈能量的人，但是她并不是真的在做魔法。萨提亚很知道自己每一步在做什么，所以在萨提亚去世之后，Sharon老师他就花了数百个小时，就不断的去再去观看萨提亚生前的那些治疗教学的录像，然后去试图去找出来萨提亚他到底是在做什么，他每一个步骤、每个阶段在做什么。所以呢，就慢慢就发展出来这样的一个6步法。那当然，为什么是6步，反正就这样就发展出来了哈。但是现在看起来，这个是非常的有价值的，因为我们可以在我们工作的时候有这样的一个结构在我们的头脑里面，并不是说我们在实际工作中要死板的去按照这样的1、2、3、4、5、6去做，我们永远都是去跟随的哈，在这个我们的工作对象他所在的位置上，跟他去相遇，跟他去跟随。但是与此同时，我们心里边有这样的一个框架在，这个是非常好的，非常有帮助的。OK。
Well, let me think about this. I think that it's always been a part of my soul to care about people. And I come from a family where my father was a very gentle man. And so I think he modeled for me gentleness and caring. I have a story when my father was elderly and he received a $5,000 gift from a relative who died. And I said to my father, "Mom, what are you going to do with this big gift, $5,000? And he got tears in his eyes and he said to me, "Well, there's a little girl that has cancer that I read about in the newspaper. So I'm going to give the money to her. I don't need it." So I think I had a very strong model. Then on top of that, I have spent many hours practicing how to do validation in a way. So it's a combination, I think, of heart and skill.
那确实就是去关爱他人呢，好像就是我这个人我灵魂的一部分哈，是我的很重要的一个特质。那其实也可能有一些家族的影响，因为我的父亲呢，他就是一个非常温和的这样的一个男人。我想在怎么样去温和，怎么去关爱他人方面，他是我的一个很好的榜样。 其实我还记得有这样的一个故事，那在他晚年的时候呢，他就从一个过世的亲人那儿，接收到了一个$5000的这样的一个遗赠。当时我就会说，哎呀，你有$5000呢，你准备拿它来做什么呢？这时候我父亲呢，就是他眼睛里满含着热泪，就跟我说，你知道吗？我在报纸上看到有一个小女孩，她好可怜，她得了癌症，我想把这5000块钱全部都给她，我并不需要这笔钱。所以我想，这个就是来自父亲的榜样。那当然，从我个人方面来讲呢，我其实有花了好多时间来去练习，怎么样可以去肯定他人。所以总结起来的话，这就是我们的这颗心哈，我们的原本的这颗初心，再加上不断的技能技巧的练习，这二者可以就是达成的这样的一个结果吧。
I think another word for spirit is love, or heart, or life energy. It's your soul. There's so many ways to say it, but it is from that place that we want to help people come from a place of love, life energy, because it is that place that is capable of wisdom, of curiosity, of compassion, of love toward themselves and toward others. And I just think that that's the most important thing in the world, is for people to know about how beautiful they are and that they can love themselves. My experience has been that for most people, they don't believe that they have a very hard time believing that they are worthy and good enough. And so we want to help them to feel their love, to feel loved, to feel that they're lovable, they're valuable, they're worthy, so they can then give off that energy and convey that to other people. So there is a positive connection. Virginia Satir said that her goal in life was to promote peace within, peace between, and peace among. And I hope that the coaching program can add to that.
那其实你刚才说到这个灵性，就我们也有很多不同的方式可以来表达这个词，比如说爱、心、生命能量、我们的灵魂，种种，我们有很多词来表达同样的一个意思。那我希望的呢是人们可以从这里出发，因为这里可以连接到爱、生命力，它也是我们保有智慧、好奇心、慈悲和这个爱心的地方，不管是对自己还是对他人。那其实这个世界上我们很重要的，我们需要让人们知道，就是他自己原本是如此的美好，是如此的可爱，是如此的值得被爱的。但是在这个世界上，人有很多人对此是心存怀疑的，他们不相信，觉得自己不够好，觉得自己不值得。那我们要做的工作呢，就是要让人们感觉到他是被爱的，他是可爱的，他是珍贵的，是值得的。所以这是一个很有能量，是从正向的一个方向去连接人们。那萨提亚女士呢，她生前有一个目标，就是希望人们能够做到内在的和平、人际的内在和谐、人际和睦、世界和平。我们也希望在我们的这个教练项目里边，也同样能够促进这3个层面。
Well, the first phase has to do with making contact heart to heart, which is in spirit to spirit. And that is combined with validating so that the person feels seen and heard and understood. Virginia Satir wrote a poem called The Greatest Gift. And in that poem, she says, I believe that the greatest gift that I can conceive of receiving is to be seen and heard, understood, and touched. And the greatest gift that I can give is to see, hear, understand, and touch another. And so the foundation of all the work in the Satir coaching and mentoring program is around making contact and validating. That's the absolute foundation. Once you have that foundation and the person feels seen and heard and understood, then you can shift into helping them know more about the levels of the iceberg within. That is, what may be misguided perceptions they have, helping them to look at their perceptions, helping them to examine and update expectations and beliefs, and helping them to get in touch with their yearnings and how they might get those met, either by themselves or asking for somebody else to meet those. So that's how I see the iceberg model integrated into the coaching model.
那我们来看一看啊，其实，在6步法里边呢，我们第一步就是讲到做出接触，这是心和心的接触，也就是我们在灵性的层面的这样一个人，他的灵魂跟另外一个人的这样的一个相遇那我们通过去看到这个人，听到这个人，去尝试理解这个人，我们去肯定他。萨提亚女士在生前她有写过一首很美的小诗，就叫做最珍贵的礼物。在诗中她是这么说的，她说，我能够接收到的最好的礼物，就深深的被看见、被听见、被理解和被深深的触动。我能够给出去的最好的礼物，也是被看见、听见、被理解和被深深的触动。所以这个就是我们的一个工作的一个基础哈。那我们首先呢，做萨提亚的模式的教练，我们要去跟人接触，通过肯定，把这个作为我们工作当中最基本的一个基础。那只有当我们能够去看见一个人、听见一个人、理解一个人的时候，我们才可以帮助他对自己有更多的好奇，想要更多的了解自己。那这时候也就是涉及到冰山的这个层次，在冰山的层面有更多的了解，比方说关于我的一些想法、我的一些价值观我的一些期待、我的一些渴望。那我的渴望，我到底是要自己去满足呢，还是别人去满足呢？我们在把6步法跟冰山做的这样的一个整合和连接。
I am a therapist by training, so I do both. But I wanted to have many more people experience the power of the Virginia Satir process. And my thought was that there are people who would be open to going to a coach who wouldn't necessarily be open to going to a therapist. And so I designed it with that in mind, that I also wanted people to be able to be trained who could help in the community. For example, a parent who got the training could help other parents, not necessarily somebody with a graduate degree in counseling, but who could help in their community. And I have done that in different fields like gang prevention and intervention. So that's been my dream, is to broaden the number of people who can have their lives touched by this. In terms of the future, we're working on trainer training, so more and more people can be trainers because they can train coaches and touch more and more people.
好，那其实我自己本人当然也是一个受训的治疗师啦，所以呢，其实我2部分的工作都有开展。那我之所以就是会花这么多精力来去，就是在这个教练的项目上呢，目的是我希望有更多的人能够体验到萨提亚模式的这个工作它的这样的力量。因为在我的这个感觉里边，人们其实是更 如果面对教练的工作，他们的心态是更开放，也更有意愿度的，相比去接受咨询和治疗。另外一个部分呢，就是我希望我也能够培训更多的人们，他可以将萨提亚模式的这种工作教练的工作运用在不同的社群里边，比如我们父母的群体，这样，因为其实相比这种专业的咨询啊、治疗啊这样的，它不需要有那么多的这种像在这种学历啊、受训的这种背景上的这种要求，所以它可以被运用在更广泛的这样的一个领域和人群当中，这是我的一个初衷那关于说到未来的话，我们的现在计划是也在开展这个就是TTT。就是培训师的培训的这样的一个训练计划，这样我们就可以去培养出来更多的相关的这些人才。
Good question. Some people refer to Virginia's work as the human validation process model. And as you all know, Dr. John Banman, teaches the Virginia Satir model, and he was telling me that he went to a conference just this past year in which they said that the new wave in the helping professions is the process model. And he said, well, we've been doing that in the Virginia Satir work for a long time. And what that really means is that you are working on understanding what is going on both within the person and between that person and another person. What's that process that's going on? How am I talking to myself? How are my parts conflicting with each other? How am I interacting either congruently or defensively with someone else? What's the process between us and within us that's happening? Does that make sense, Tutu?
Yes. OK， 好，那因为萨提这问了一个非常好的问题首先图图，因为在这个人们也会把萨提亚模式呢，有另外的一个称呼叫做这个人性的肯定的历程模式就基于人性的肯定的历程的模式那我们也都知道John Banman博士呢，他一直在教授萨提亚那他也提到过前2年他参加了一个国际的心理学的大会，然后在那个大会上呢就提到说，我们现在心理学的发展更倾向于去这个历程式的这样的一个模式。当时Banman博士就哑然失笑说，哎呀，那如果是这样的话，在萨提亚模式我们已经这样做了很多年了。那所以呢我们说到这个历程呢，它不仅仅是说要理解一个人他内在发生了什么，他内在的有一个历程在发生，还有包括人际之间他们的互动，这个历程又是什么，他们之间这个发生了什么那什么正在发生，那我的这个自我的对话是什么，我在告诉自己一些什么，我内在有哪些不同的部分正在经历发生着一些什么，我的那个内在的冲突是什么，那当我遇见另外一个人，我跟这个人之间我们之间的又发生了什么，有些什么正在进行当中，对吧？这些都是这个历程所以我不知道我这么讲有没有回答到图图你的这个提问。
I think that I have come to love you all.
对于我的学生们，我想说我越来越爱你们了。
And I wish that the world could have been a part of this, because we come from very different places, and yet our experience as human beings is the same.
然后我也希望这个世界呢就是在中国的，反正我们也能够就是有更多的这样的一个连接，世界我们可以通过这样的有更多共同的连接。虽然我们来自不同的背景、不同的文化，但是作为人，我们的体验是一样的。
And I think when we experience that, heart-to-heart issues, whether it's our sons or our daughters or our mothers or our mother-in-laws or our spouses, all those human problems are the same, no matter where we come from. And when we experience that sameness, we feel more connected, and that's what I wish the world could have walked this journey with me this past year.
就是虽然我们就是有各自不同的背景，但是当我们在讨论我们个人的这些事情、这些生活的时候，比方我们谈到我们自己的孩子、我们的父母、我们的配偶，你会发现在我们作为人来讲，这些都是一样的，而且我们可以在这个过程里有那么深的这样的一个连接。所以正因为如此呢，我也希望就是世界有更多的地方都能够有这样的这个过程哈，这样的一个经验经历。
I think that Virginia started out as a teacher, and then she became a therapist. And then the more she wanted to help people in the world, the more she realized that she needed to broaden and use education. So a lot of her work became around educating people about what she called the universal principles of human interaction. And that she believed that when people get new information, they have new possibilities. And that's a very strong part of coaching, is helping people, not with advice, you're not giving them answers, but there may be information they don't have, that you can add to their life that would help them have a richer life. So I think it's that piece of education. I just read some of her speeches just recently, and she talked about how much in the later part of her life she increased her desire and her commitment to educating people, which is very much a part of coaching.
其实萨提亚呢，他是最初是从一个老师的这样的一个身份或角色开始，然后慢慢他成为一个治疗师。那到后面呢，当他越来越想要去帮助到更多人，所以他就有了一个意识，就是要去拓展他的工作。那么这时候他就更多的开始去做跟教育相关的工作。所以也就是说，他有一个说法，就是一个全球性的普世性的说法，就是促进人们的内在的这样的一个行动。就当人们有了更能够教育人们，他有一些新的资讯进来的时候，可能他就可以看到打开生命的更多的这种可能性。那而不是说我们直接给到他这个答案让他怎么去做。那人们当他没有那个新的这个资讯进来的时候，我们怎么样帮助他可以觉察或者是添加到这样的新的资讯，打开生命的这种新的可能。所以呢，我最近也有在看到萨提亚他晚年写的一些文章，他就谈到这个哈，就是他对于教育的这样的一个热忱，他希望他有一个使命，有一个承诺，他要去用教育的方式帮助到更多人。而我觉得这个呢，也是这个教练的这个工作或者思想里边很重要的一个部分。
I'd like to add something to that, and that is that one of the ways that Virginia was constantly educating people was that she would say, you always have choices. And she defined maturity as taking responsibility, consciously making choices and taking responsibility for them. So that she was weaving that through all the work that she did with people, so they could become more and more aware of everything that they said, how I could respond, or am I reacting? And in coaching, we do a lot of helping people go from reacting and then choosing to respond instead of that.
另外一个就是在萨提亚他持续不间断的对人们的这个教育当中，他永远都在强调，就是作为一个人，你永远是有选择的，所以他就会，你可以不断的就是让自己更加的去发展你的这种成熟性，你去为自己做选择，而且你要为自己的选择去负责任。那他在他所有跟人相遇的这种相遇当中，工作当中，他就不断把这样的一个理念呀去编织在他的这个持续的工作里边。所以 让人们去负责任。而在这个教练的工作里边，我们其实也做了很多，就是关于让人们怎么样可以去为自己做选择，怎么样为自己去负责任。
I would hope that you would touch as many people as possible so they could feel lovable and valuable and worthy, and help other people feel valuable and worthy. That would be my wish.
我的心愿呀，就是你们能够去接触到更多人，让更多人能够让他们感觉到自己是可爱的，自己是有价值的，自己是重要的。而且当他们能够有这样的体验和感受的时候，他们也同样的能够散播给更多的人，让他们身边更多的人也有同样的体验跟感受。这就是我的心愿。
Okay. So when I first studied with Virginia, it was in the mountains, and she believed that the most important thing you could do would be to work on yourself. She would hold 30-day intensives. And so I went into the mountains with 90 other people and spent 30 days working on myself with her leadership. And in the mountains, we rented space in a ski resort that was empty in the summer. And so the place that we lived was at 10,000 feet. And then Virginia trained us 3 miles down the mountain in the second story of a fire station where they had the fire engines. And so she would announce that if you wanted to talk to her personally, get up early in the morning, because she walked down the mountain every morning. And so I would do that with her. I would walk down the mountain with her. She was a very big woman. Boom, boom, boom. She would go walking down the mountain. And then I would just quickly, as a student, I would ask all kinds of questions of her and just try to get to know her and answer questions. So one of my greatest memories is just walking down the mountain with Virginia.
好吧，讲故事哈，跟萨提亚的相遇就是当年呢，他们跟萨提亚去学习是要在山里边的哈，要去就是而且那个工作就是工作在你自身上哈，萨提亚带领的那个工作主题就是在你自身上去工作，是一个封闭的密集30天的一个集训，当时有90个人参加哈，萨提亚本人带领，那么那个地方呢，就是在冬天是一个滑雪胜地，那夏天就没有人去，是一个空的哈。那个山很高哈，有1万英尺 10,000 feet high the mountain， 1万英尺高。然后它那个再往山下走3公里呢，会有一个那个就是那个消防站那样的地方。然后萨提亚每次就说你们早上啊，我会去爬山，我从那山上爬山，然后往下走啊，你们谁想那个可以跟着我。然后他说他的记忆呢，就当年就每天早上他作为一个学生就跟着萨提亚一起去从山上往下走，然后萨提亚是一个大块头的女人，然后她每走一步都砰砰砰，就是很有力量，然后老师就作为一个学生嘛哈，就跟在她后面一边就是挺想着各种问题来问萨提亚，就当年那个一边往山下走的那个场景啊，就是如今还历历在目。
In terms of your second question about the Virginia Satir global network, I was on the board for probably 20 some years, but I was the president for the last 10. I just retired from that role this past year. So my mission was what I call lift up and link. Anybody in the Satir who was interested in learning Satir's teachings, or who already had been trained in it, but wanted to be connected. That was what I attempted to do, was to help people know each other, to have heart connections all around the world. And I'm excited about the possibilities. When the pandemic hit, we started having weekly meetings, and people showed up from all around the world. And so we're getting more of a real sense of community that excites me.
那你提到第二个问题，关于就是萨提亚的发展。那其实我在萨提亚全球网络已经有超过20多年的这样的一个历史了哈。那我也连任了10年的这个主席，我去年才刚刚卸任了。那在这个期间，我就一直有一个使命呢，就是我想要去帮助跟提升所有有志于去学习和传播萨提亚的人们哈，不管你是想要去教学，还是你有一颗助人之心，你想要去接受培训，就是我在做的一个工作，就帮助人们可以建立重新出发的这样的更多的连接哈。让他们有连接。我很兴奋的是，虽然疫情以来哈有一些冲击，但是呢也帮助我们就是建立了一个每周的一个线上的大家的一个共修分享，这样呢就是也好像这种社群感，就是萨提亚的这些传播者学习者的这种社群感啊，好像反而是被强化了。这个我还蛮开心的。
Very interesting. Yes. I originally designed it for in-person, and then as the pandemic hit, we went more to online. So there are two different ways that it can be done in person. One is where you actually still go with the lessons that I've designed, or I created a whole different set of exercises that people can use for in-person training. Both are getting to the same skills, but just different exercises when you're actually with people. So I find both very powerful. I wasn't sure if we could do this online, but I'm very pleased with what has happened. I've learned a lot by doing this online, and what it's a whole different skill set, but I'm very excited because I think that means that so many more people can be exposed to Virginia's work because they don't have to travel. They don't have to pay for transportation. They don't have to pay for housing. They can do it right from their own home. And that's been very exciting to me because I want this to go to as many people as possible and not have economics be the decider.
对，就是这是一个很有趣的问题哈。那确实我也设计了地面的这个工作的这个版本，他们两个呢其实有相同有不同。相同的是不管是线上线下，我们就是都有一个这种工作的这样的一个框架嘛。那只是说有一些练习呢，可能分线上和线下会有一些这个区别，但是我们要练习的技巧技能都是一样的。那其实我倒是觉得，因为我有一个发心和目标，就是希望我的工作能够让更多人能够接触到并从中受益。反而我觉得是线上呢，它打开了这种可能性，因为它节省了人们的这种交通啊、住宿的这样的一个成本，可以很便捷的，我们就可以让它有更多的这样的一个传播。